Yeah, there's a bunch of beers in there, so just if you want another one, go for it.
I'm not really that big of a drinker these days.
Yeah? Okay.
Usually, like, cheers.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Yeah, usually I only have like one or two.
Yeah.
Even when I go out to gigs.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when I go to gigs, I usually only have like one or two. Unless, if I'm DJing, I'll probably have like maybe one or two more than usual, but just because it helps me loosen up when I'm playing.
Yeah,
But yeah, if I ever go out to like a gig, I'm only having like one or two anyways.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I play out, I'm super conscious of needing to go to the toilet.
Yeah, you're right.
So I won't smash heaps of beers before the set.
Yeah.
Maybe like one or two. And then, I don't know, I guess like sometimes you end up drinking a little bit during the set because you just, I don't know, you get like, your energy's up.
Yeah.
Your body temperature raises, then you're just like, oh, this goes down pretty nicely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get like a bit of nerves or a bit of something, and then like something to hold and drink, like just kind of and it keeps my hand active, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're just like jittering, or you're like chewing your nails or something.
Especially if you're doing like a back to back or something, and you're like, I'll just stand here for like a minute.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, as well, is like I don't know. Most of the sets I play, there's not really many people in the crowd, so I don't know. It's hard to get nervous when you know that there's not that many people there.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I get I don't really get nerves about being in front of a crowd. I just get nerves about like, am I gonna fuck something up? You know, like which I guess is a part of being in front of people. But I mean, it's just like the pressure's on for that. Yeah, you know, for that hour or whatever. It's like don't screw something up. And I always do.
Yeah, I used to be exactly the same. I guess in probably like my first few sets playing out, maybe say first handful, 5 or so.
Yeah.
And then I think I did some pretty big fuck ups in those sets. And the biggest cheers is when you like get back on track.
Yeah.
The crowd, like, I don't know, it's probably that sort of human error element that the crowd kind of relates to. Or I don't know. I don't know what it is, but then I kind of got used to that, and then I was just like, wow, that really eases the pressure, because if you fuck up, it's okay.
Yeah. Like, I don't think people really care, to be honest. Like, I think like the DJ or the act or whatever is like the one who cares the most of what is, you know, being played and stuff and how it goes. But I think a lot of the time they also don't realize it's a fuck up unless there's someone in the crowd that's a DJ. Like, a lot of the time, the people, like, the audience don't know.
Yeah, DJs are the biggest critiques of other DJs.
Yeah.
Because, when you talk to, like, the average punter, or, like, you know, your friends or anything that come out to watch you play, and you're just like, oh, man, like, I stuffed this up, and this up, and they're just like, I didn't even notice. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, okay, cool. So, like, if you try and put your headspace in the mind of just, like, you know, someone who's going out to have a good time and it's not really...
they don't give a shit.
Yeah, they're not reviewing it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it eases the pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all our own worst critic. I always... Like, when I played something recently... it was at Geisha. It was that RL event for Zorro. And I fucked up, I think, twice. Like, I would, like, you know, do, like, a big kind of build-up with 2 tracks, and then as the drop comes, I forgot to put the bass back.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And it's like... And then... What I do in that moment is I've learned, like, because people notice. I mean, firstly, I think the crowd wouldn't really notice that at all. Like, they're probably some people wouldn't notice and some would. But what I think would make it more noticeable is if you just be like, oh shit, and then just quickly turn it back. So what I do is I like let it count for like the 8 bars, turn it on for like 8, turn it off for 8, and like kind of create a bit of a rhythm with it.
Yeah. That almost sounds like a bit of a techno move. Where you could, like, I don't know, do. Well, not in the sense of like how false drops are these days, but like it almost is like a false drop.
Yeah. So but
if you're looking down the decks like, what? Yeah. Oh my god, I can't believe what's going on. You're trying to like, figure out. That's when everyone's like, oh yeah, he's stuffed up big time here. But man, like that's not even the worst of it, because like the music's still going. I remember like a couple of times, just in the heat of mixing, I would just pause the wrong track. And it would be the one that was playing. And so it would just stop, and everybody would be like, what happened? And you just look down and be like,
Yeah.
And like I think it happened probably like three or four times.
Yeah. Yeah, it's happened to me.
So I got the hang of like faking that there was something wrong with the mixer.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, what? And then I would just like notice, and I would just press play, and I'd be like, oh, cool. And then everybody would get back into it.
That's great.
So
I've done that a few times. Yeah, I've done that a lot at like when I'm playing, or when I used to do like pub gigs and stuff like that, where it was more just like you're there for like 5 hours playing stuff and you're just casual and whatever. I've done that a lot because then you're just not really paying a whole lot of attention and you push the wrong thing.
Yeah,
definitely done it with drum and bass as well. But
a bit lower stakes as well. Like,
yeah.
Man, I'm doing the same when I DJ weddings.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it for 6 hours or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's rough, man.
Like you have so many stuff ups, but no one cares.
Yeah, no one cares.
So like,
yeah,
I don't know. Once you kind of get over that, you're your own worst enemy kind of mentality. I don't know. Just like take a step back and think of the bigger picture. It's like, were people dancing for most of the time?
Yeah, that's what
then I did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I guess that's what an interesting thing about like going from playing like pubs and weddings and like 21st or whatever. Like in those scenarios, it's all about can I keep people dancing and on the dance floor and entertained. But when you're doing like a drum and bass event or whatever, it's like that's not really in anyone's mind so much. I mean, it probably is, and if you really fuck up and like the whole crowd clears, then it's definitely in your mind. But like it's definitely more like, at least for me, I would say is like I'm not really thinking about is the crowd 100% going to enjoy the next track that I'm about to play. I'm just thinking, don't fuck it up, and the song is going to be cool, and so it's just a different like pressure, I guess, compared to like that more commercial.
Yeah, it's like a bit more.
It's a bit interesting.
I kind of think of it as like there's two schools of DJing, which is one where you're like I guess like a true DJ to heart, where you're basically reading the room, trying to just get people on the dance floor and sort of keep that going. And then there's the flip side, which is kind of the more like artistic expression. Maybe you'd say like more performative side of it, where
all recorded and just
just
jumping up.
Yeah, exactly. We like hyping the crowd and whatever. So it's kind of interesting. So I haven't played a whole lot of drum and bass gigs in probably the last year or so, but I've done a bunch of weddings. So it's just I separate the two, and I'm like, okay, this is obviously they don't want 6 hours of drum and bass at a wedding unless they're like really cool. So it's kind of like you're just wearing different hats as a DJ, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. You said like people who have I guess different types of sets or different schools of DJing. You get people that are I would say like I guess what I was trying to say was like I've noticed like especially in the newer age of drum and bass, like with the younger people coming in and like TikTok DJs and all that kind of stuff, like it definitely seems, I wouldn't say recorded sets, but it's like definitely seems like there's a lot of people that are doing like just 100% like pre-organized sets or whatever you want to call it, like which I mean we all do that, but I mean I feel like a lot of other people, like people who play outside of drum and bass, like go to weddings or pubs and stuff like yourself, and like you get to learn that experience of playing on your toes a bit and being like, this is or isn't working. But I see a lot of like the newer people who just don't seem to understand that or can't recognize that this is killing the crowd. Like you need to like there's a lot of drum and bass, especially in drum and bass, there's a lot of early acts that are just going heavy as fuck, like, and they're just like, this is what I record, this is what I planned.
And that's a whole like another aspect, I guess, which is like play your time slot, which I guess these days is kind of like it all bleeds together because you might have different styles across the whole night. But typically, like I don't know if you're the same, but I heard you on the first episode you talk about you used to really like Deadmau5. And sort of that like progressive house kind of scene. And like I was the same, like I came from I guess a house techno sort of background when I first started DJing. And what I really enjoyed about those nights was the flow of the night. So, and every DJ kind of playing their time slot, and then the headliner would come on and it would be
Yeah,
the best, like clearly the best and the most energetic.
Yeah.
And then would kind of like taper off.
Yeah, I get you. I only played like maybe 2 or 3 tech housey sets. But I went to a lot of gigs and stuff it was definitely more of a thing there. But I guess it comes down to like, I would say it comes down to the promoter's responsibility to understand who they're booking and what they, like what that act is capable of and what kind of style they're doing. Because whenever I do like sub air, I always put like, pretty much every time I've put the first act as like a halftime or 140 type of act to just like warm it up a bit, and then maybe it'll be like a bit of something stepping it up from there, maybe like a heavier 140 or like some UKG, and then liquid, and then heavy drum and bass, and you got to have a bit of a progression through the night, otherwise.
Yeah, and that's what I enjoyed. I think initially when you're putting on heaps of gigs, like 2020 through COVID or just post COVID sort of thing. And like I really enjoy that as well. And then I was going to a few different gigs, and it's just kind of like it's either just like balls to the wall as soon as you get there, and I'm kind of like, he's into it a little bit.
Some people
just
do it hard.
we're here for the whole night.
Yeah, that's it. Like I think some people, I can understand if it's like if you're kind of new-ish to the game and like it's maybe your first set or your first couple sets, and you're like a bit excited and you want to just want to rock the crowd or whatever. Like
yeah.
But yeah, you gotta realize like people are there for the whole night. You gotta let them warm up and
yeah. But then, like you kind of said, you sort of have to take a leaf from the other DJ's booklet. Yeah. And if the crowd's there and pumping and ready to go, like
that's true. Just go for it.
Go hard, you know.
There's been
which I don't mind at all, because a lot of those nights where everyone's going hard early, they leave early. So it's like if you try and amp it up later in the night, everyone's already left.
That's true. So. Yeah, I think Perth as well is a weird spot because people go home early. I got home early. Like, unless I'm DJing, I'm definitely going home before midnight. Like, if I can.
Well, I think I don't know if it's sort of promoters have reacted to that recently, because most gigs will be finishing at 12 anyway.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of events are starting earlier and ending earlier. Yeah. Which is pretty decent, but like...
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. Like, it's good fun.
Yeah.
Because it was always difficult when, I guess a few years ago, when they were finishing later. But then people would leave early. Like, they'd probably leave by like 1 a.m. Yeah. And the headliner would be coming on at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And I remember going to a few gigs and I was like, fuck, everyone's already left.
Yeah.
And the headliner's just coming on. It's a bit shit, but...
Yeah. One thing I didn't enjoy about running events was when I'd have to work with those venues that have to stay open until like 4 or 5 a.m. Like the sewing room was cool because they would be a bit more open to see how the night's going. But they kind of wanted you to go till about 4 a.m. And sometimes we went till 4, sometimes we went till like 3. But there, like after like 2 a.m. there was like 30 people that would just hang around or less, and it's like I just want to go to bed. Like, as someone who's like running the event, you're like running around making sure everything's okay, and then you're like,
and that's a long night. Like what those were starting at.
Yeah, they usually start like 10 or something. Yeah. So it's a long.
And I imagine you obviously the build up to it as well. Like so much energy spent.
It was a lot. Like after a night of running an event, I'd be wrecked for like a day or two. Just like I didn't fucking sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I kind of feel the same after I DJ a wedding. I'll get home and try to chill out, and it will probably take me like an hour just to sort of wind down, and then I'll like go to sleep and just kind of sleep like shit for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah. Whether I'm like smashed on caffeine for the whole night, like just trying to get through it or whatever.
I think because I'm the same. Like I don't do pubs and weddings and stuff anymore, but even if I do just an hour of drum and bass sets, like that takes a lot of energy out of me. Like because I mean you're jumping around and you're dancing like trying to get everything, and you're thinking about like 4 different decks, and you're there's a lot of pressure, and then there's all this stuff. So I feel like it's just 1 hour, but I'm putting like so much mental energy into that hour. Yeah. Try not to screw anything up, making sure everything's all right. My heart's racing. I'm like,
and typically like it's super hot in the booth as well.
Yeah.
Depending on where you're playing.
Yeah. So that takes out of me. Like the next day, I'm definitely like resting.
Yeah,
I'm just I spent all my energy on that hour.
Oh yeah, it takes it out of you, hey. And then especially if you, I don't know, if you work during the week or whatever, then
exactly.
like, you know, if you do that on a Saturday night, then you just chill on Sunday. Then you're back to work on Monday. Like that's
it kills you.
Yeah, it's a quick route to burnout. Hey.
Yeah, that's why I had to stop doing the. That was like one of the main reasons why I stopped the pub DJing life, because I used to do. Like every gig I'd play would be like 6 hours usually.
Yeah.
And it'd be like at the Brass Monkey or the Aberdeen or something, and
that's a slog, hey.
Yeah, and so it's like hip hop and house and a little bit of drum bass, a little bit of this and that, whatever gets people dancing. But then, and I would do it like on average about 3 nights a week. So that was like
that's a lot.
Yeah, so I did that for like 7 years or something, like pretty much.
Wow.
And
Okay.
that was like my job. Like,
Yeah.
You know, but it took it out of me, and I drank way too much alcohol, and
yeah, of course, you're just around it, hey.
Yeah.
Right.
And you'd be like going to bed like 3 a.m. every night or 4 a.m. or something, and then waking up at like midday, and then it like as you get older as well, like I'm not even old, but like as you get old, like closer to 30, you're just like, fuck, this shit's tiring me out.
Yeah.
Like,
so every one of those nights is just gets a little bit harder every time you wake up the next morning. Yeah, because how old are you? You're 29, huh?
29, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm 30. I turned 30 end of last year. So basically they're like the same age. And I didn't really do that, but like I would be usually kind of like working during the week, and then only started doing weddings the last 2 years.
Yeah, cool. Are you still working like a day job, or are you just doing weddings?
Yeah, so basically, like I was working full time at Store DJ.
That's right.
Yeah, like a couple of years ago, and I was thinking of getting out of it, and I was like, oh, it's almost like a super millennial kind of thought, where I was like, what can I do which will earn me the most money and have the least amount of hours spent working? And like every time I asked myself that question, it just kept coming back to wedding DJing.
Yeah.
So I eventually got the opportunity through someone I used to go to school with, and set up like my own, I guess, business you'd call it, and then they just feed me work when they can't do the weddings.
Cool.
So then I kind of got out of the retail game.
Yeah, nice.
And was just doing that for, I think, like full time for like probably a year and a half.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's all right. I'll kind of just do this until I figure things out. And then went to study cybersecurity because that was free study through the WA government. And then then now I work in cybersecurity. So,
sick.
And then I just finished my last wedding for the season last week. Yeah. Because you have to book them like
quite
6 months at least in advance usually.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. So I'm feeling free, man. Working full time still, but I'm feeling free because the weekends are now open.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I prefer. Is like, because I'm still studying, but before I was studying, like when I stopped the DJ, like pub DJing stuff and all that. Yeah. I was working full time, and I much preferred that. Like, even though it sucked to a degree, like compared to you get a lot more freedom with DJing, but I do enjoy like having my weekends back, and I can actually catch up with people, like stuff like that.
I think it's like a grass is greener on both sides type of situation, because like it's cool to. If you're only doing weddings or mostly pubs, you mostly working weekends, right?
Yeah.
So
always.
It kind of sucks because you have your weekend taken up. Yeah. But then your week's free.
Yeah.
And you don't have to set an alarm and wake up at 6 or whatever in the morning to go to work.
And I try to catch up with mates, and they're like, I'm at work. It's a Tuesday.
Yeah. And then you've got those impromptu like mates hangouts where they're like, oh, we're going to the pub on Friday night. It's like, oh, damn, I'm working.
I mostly ended up just inviting people to come have drinks with me at like when I was playing at the Brass. I'd be call my friends and be like, I'll pay for drinks. Just come and hang out with me. And like a lot of the time it was just free drinks flowing.
Yeah, come early before it gets hectic. Yeah. We can actually have a chat. Yeah.
So it was good fun, and but I got out of it. I did weddings. I think 3 weddings when I was doing all that, and it was very early when I started getting into like commercial DJing stuff, and And then I was like, nah, I'm done. But I did this one wedding that was so fucking bad that I never did one ever again.
Yeah.
And I've declined a lot since. And there was basically like a bridezilla moment, like where the chick just went nuts and was super like anal about everything. Like she wanted a song played at this minute, and like she had a list of stuff. So I had this song list from her. So I was like, yeah, I've got all these songs, like all good. But she didn't tell me that she wanted it played in order from like 6 p.m. to the end. And so I didn't know that. But so I was just playing whatever, and I was taking requests from friends, and this chick would always come up like, you can't, this is not meant to be playing at this time. Like, have you not seen the list? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, and and she would just get so angry. And then she was like, this song wasn't on the list. And I was like, yeah, but it was requested by the bridesmaid. Like, she wanted the song. And she's like, I don't care. We're not doing requests. It's on the list. So you have to stick to the list.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, Jesus. And she went nuts. And she just went off at me. And the groom had to come and, like, apologize and stuff. And she ended up firing her photographer on the night. She had to go with, like, the venue manager.
Holy shit.
Like, she was horrible. And
oh, fuck. Yeah. No, I've never had anything like that, thankfully.
Yeah. I was thinking of, like, walking out, but I was working through an agency.
Yeah, okay.
So I didn't want to, like, ruin their reputation. But I was close to just being, like,
oh, man, I don't think you'd be ruining anyone's reputation if, like, given that story. Far out. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like, obviously it's a highly stressful time for the bride and groom, but geez.
Some people just...
That's insane.
Go hard on it.
Yeah, I mean, like, the worst I've had is just people being kind of, annoying when they request songs. And, like, I got yelled at once for not playing someone's song. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then they got super angry at me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think I'm going to play your song now.
Yeah.
And then I saw that she was having a really bad time, and then I was like, no, actually, I'm going to play it and, like, watch you have a bad time to the song you requested. So, yeah, that's... I don't know, a little bit fucked up saying it out loud, to be honest.
I've done
like,
worse.
I was like, why would you yell at the DJ for not playing your song request?
When I was at the brass, this happened, and I was playing. I would get requests every like 5 minutes from in the brass, like anyway. It's like just people coming up with their phones.
It's pretty wild crowd,
and people are pretty wild over there, and I used to get so angry with requests because it's just so annoying.
Yeah.
And it was like a lot of the time, like look, I understand you want that song, but you're not a DJ, and I can guarantee you this song is going to kill the crowd.
Yeah.
And I'd say this to some people, like, this is not a good time for that track, and they'd be like, oh, you don't know anything, like, So I'm like, cool. So I'd like bet with them and be like, I'm gonna play this song and we'll see what happens, and then. And it would play it, and it would just kill it, and I would just look at it like, you motherfucker.
I mean, like, I kind of did the same thing at my first, like, handful of weddings.
Yeah.
And then I was like, actually, I don't want to kill the vibe. Because, like, it kind of makes you feel good to like, show that person you were right. But at the end of the day, like, if you kill the vibe, you got to try and get it back.
Exactly, yeah.
And...
I mean, I think...
that can be difficult.
Yeah, it can be. It's probably harder for a wedding, like, if you kill the vibe, like, getting that back on. Because people are not really there just to get rowdy. It's more like hanging out with family and all that kind of stuff. So it's like...
Yeah.
Once you get a wedding dance going, you got to kind of keep that going.
Yeah.
But at somewhere like the brass or a pub or whatever, a club or whatever, you got to just... You can do whatever you want because they're always going to come back.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends.
Whatever.
Like, it depends on the crowd. Like some crowds will want to dance heaps. Obviously, at the Brass Monkey, it'll be like more so. But sometimes we just get wedding crowds that don't want to dance, and in that case, you like got to hold on to the vibe. You go, no, quick, go stay on the dance floor.
Yeah.
What do you want? So I'm feeling free because I don't have any more for this season. So
nice. That's cool, man.
Working on some tunes now.
Good shit.
Like I sent you those ones just a bit earlier. All the ideas.
Right. Yeah, they sound cool. The dopamine bean.
So that was obviously sampled from episode 1.
Yeah.
Which shouts out to Nick.
When we finish this, I'll show you the other track that I was talking about that I was going to send you guys.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. So I put up a link yesterday, and to anyone that's watching, I'll put it in the description for next time.
Yeah.
But I'm going to like start doing... like submit questions that people can ask.
Yeah.
and just could be general questions for us to chat about.
Is this just anybody who's asking the question?
Yeah, so sometimes, I've given the opportunity for it to either be anonymous or for someone to put their name, but cool. No one's put their name. It's all anonymous.
All right, cool.
There's a couple that are...
bring it on.
There's a couple that are too rude to mention, so I'll bring that up later.
Maybe ask the question and I'll...
Yeah.
I don't know.
So...
Yeah, it might be an off-mic answer.
That's all right. There was one funny one that I wanted to start with, which was how much... I feel like this is maybe from Nick. And it said, how much do you love DLR?
A lot would be the answer to that.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
A lot? Sick.
Is that from Nick?
I think it's from Nick. He didn't leave a name, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'd say a lot. Like, good tunes. Obviously, big Sofa Sound fan. Love the artwork and just the whole vibe of it. So yeah. Big inspiration.
Nice.
As you could probably tell in my music.
Yeah. I think I can hear it. I feel like your drums are very like set in a similar way, like, which is good because I feel like DLR has some of the best drums in the game. So
yeah, and
sick.
I think one of the things that I like about his music is like sort of going back to like Deadmau5, you know.
Yeah.
Back in the day, like I listened to a lot of him, and a lot of his music would just start with like either a 4/4 kick and a snare as well, and you just instantly know it's one of his tunes. And I feel like it's the same with DLR, but obviously in the drum and bass spectrum.
Yeah.
So like you'll hear the drums and you'll be like, man, that's and they're just killer. Like
yeah, man, his stuff's great.
Yeah.
He's got I did tell you about it. I don't know did you ever watch that course that he did on Virtuoso or something?
No, I remember you telling me about it, but I didn't watch it because I think I was a bit stingy with money.
Yeah, it was a bit pricey. So. I think I bought it at one point because it was on sale, so I think it cost like $80 or something. But
that's pretty good.
But it was like almost $200 or something. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, but and the thing, another thing with those is like if there's a full course.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the time I don't really have the time to watch.
Yeah, it's
a
full
course.
I've only watched like 6 videos, and there's like 20, and I'm like, I'll get back to it. But I just want to like, it's more like I just want to see what he does. Like, how does he go about arranging shit, and like how does he come up with some of these sounds? And it was very cool. Like, you should definitely try and check it out.
I mean, obviously I follow him on socials. I don't, not Patreon, but like all Instagram mostly. And some of the stuff that he's been posting lately is just like little tips. Okay. Which, I love to consume that sort of stuff because it's just like 30-second sort of tip that you can just apply, and it kind of just like levels you up, you know, half a percent or whatever. So it makes your drums sound a tiny bit better. Great. Yeah.
Another question. I thought this was a pretty good one. A bit broad, but also again, no name left, all anonymous. But it just says, what was your first experience with electronic music, and how did you first come across D&B as a genre?
Okay.
Pretty packed question.
Yeah, very packed question. So, first experience with electronic music, I think would have been probably like a Ministry of Sound. I think it was Ministry of Sound annual edition or version or whatever it's called. Maybe like 2004 or something like that.
Right. Back in the day.
And I think it was a remix of the one that pops into my head is a remix of Chemical Brothers. Was it the Salmon Dance? Did you ever hear that?
No, I've never heard that.
I'll show it for you later. It's like quite.
We can pull it up if you want.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll have a show what it is.
I'll pull it up.
I don't know who did the remix, but I remember listening to the original.
Would it be on Spotify?
Yeah, definitely.
My Chemical Romance?
My Chemical Romance.
Is that what you said?
Chemical Brothers.
Oh, Chemical Brothers, sorry.
My Chemical Romance, yeah.
Chemical
it's Welcome to the Black Parade, man.
Yeah.
And then
Salmon Dance.
Which is not even electronic, I don't think. It's mostly like
Salmon Dance, there you go.
Yeah,
so I'll put a link to this, so everyone's watching, I'll put a link to it in...
I think it's the Crookers Wow mix.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Play that. I
guess the remix.
Because I remember it was a remix.
Yeah, we'll play it. And I'll put it in the chat, in the thing below. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I remember I bought that CD from, is it Sanity? Do you remember Sanity? Yeah, bought that from there, and then I just like rinsed it out heaps on my little like CD player.
Nice.
Little kind of like, I guess it's like a mini boombox kind of thing, but there's like big CD player with speakers inbuilt.
Yeah, I had one of them.
Yeah. So it was that, and then drum and bass. I think probably would have been first exposure to that was I would say Hold Your Colour by Pendulum. That was probably the first album.
Nice.
And I remember my cousin having that on vinyl. So shouts out to Mikey. You incepted me with the drum and bass because he used to mix. Well, he still does, I think, actually. But he mixes like drum and bass on vinyl. So I think like just going over and seeing him do that, I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool. Yeah. But never really kind of like dove deeply into it until later on in life.
What's your take on the vinyl versus digital debate? Have you ever played vinyl? Like,
I really enjoy vinyl from a listening perspective. I feel like the music is a lot more, it's a lot less compressed. So,
for sure.
You can hear a lot more what's going on in the song. But in terms of DJing out, like I've done it before at home. I've never DJed out playing vinyl. That seems like a nightmare. Yeah. Because, like, I think I remember I put on an event where one of my mates played a vinyl set, and the stage was like a wooden elevated stage.
Yeah.
And man, like I don't know what happened, but like people were bouncing up and down, like on the stage and on the dance floor, and the record just kept skipping. And I was like, man, this is a nightmare from like from his point of view. I can imagine it's completely insane.
Yeah.
So I definitely respect the art of it. I think it's pretty cool because you're mixing without all the visual elements and like not from the drum and bass world, but like turntablism coming from hip hop. I really respect that. Yeah. And
I love turntablism, mate, and like scratching and all that.
It's all like what you do, you know. Like if you're playing vinyl and you're doing really cool shit, you know, like DJ Marky.
Upside down.
Yeah, upside down, like doing scratching and stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But if you're just like, I don't know, doing the same stuff.
Yeah, then
like
what's
just,
the point?
Just song to song, it's kind of like...
Bit pointless.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, probably maybe a little bit more skillful.
Yeah.
That's probably a bit controversial to say, but...
next time someone comments on the thing like, I play vinyl, it's like, show me your skills. Like, send me a video right now.
Yeah. And like, there was a bit, maybe like a year or two ago, where I was really trying to get into scratching and sort of not full on turntablism, but like just learning to do a few cuts just for fun.
I got into it before I bought my CDJs.
Oh yeah.
Because I had a set of the Pioneer vinyls. I can't remember what they're called, but and I had a.
They're like the PLX series or something.
Yeah, they're like 1000 or some shit like that. And I had the Tractor mixer, the Z2, so it was like a really nice mixer, and I digged it. Like, there's something special just in listening and playing with it, and like just, you know, having that spinning and like that, you know, it just feels a lot more authentic.
Yeah,
and
it feels really cool. Alive.
Yeah. And so I started learning like scratching and stuff, and this was kind of before I started playing drum and bass gigs, so it was quite a while ago. And I got really into it because I was big hip hop fan, and was playing a lot of hip hop like at the brass and stuff, and so I got into vinyl, and then I was like, my goal was to learn scratching and then play a set out on vinyl, like hip hop. And so I ran this night at the Brass Monkey. This was like a year before I started Sub Era. So this was like the first ever event I ever ran.
Okay.
And it failed hard. But it was cool. It was fun for me. And like I had a bunch of friends there, and like it was on a Sunday as well, so it was like there was a lot of just stuff stacking up against me, and it never happened again because it didn't do well. But the crowd enjoyed it, like the people that were there. But basically, the idea was I'd bring my decks and run. I think I called it like, I can't remember what I called it, but it was basically some type of like golden hip hop night where it was like I'm playing all the classics, like from I don't know, like like just all the classics, like Tupac to Biggie to.
Yeah. Well, and you had all that on vinyl.
No, I was playing on
Or did you do
DVS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was, like a vinyl DVS system, and and so I mean that was a bit cheating. It wasn't like 100% vinyl. It was vinyl with a screen.
Yeah, I mean,
but still the same thing, really. And just a little bit easy on the tempo and all that. But I did that night, and that was the first and last time I ever played a vinyl set, because I immediately found out how hard it is to keep it all going and like make sure everything's not bouncing around and stable and skipping. And it was also it made me realize how much of a mission it is to set up a vinyl system compared to just CDJs. And so I just never did it again. But it was a good learning curve, you know.
I mean, you went balls deep on the first one. Damn, that's crazy.
And I was scratching. I was trying to do it, and I had fun. It was great. And I was decent at scratching, and I wouldn't say I was that good, but I was trying.
Well, so like scratching's just fun. Like I tried to incorporate a little bit of it into like my drum and bass sets, just to, I don't know, maybe try and be a bit different or stand out. And that's what eventually led to the Scratch That
that's
tune,
right.
and then I guess it's obviously the title track of the EP that you released. Like, what was that? Start of last year?
Yeah, sometime last year.
Yeah.
Good EP.
Because it's just like it's super fun.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, it's just a completely different way of I think thinking about using an instrument.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
No, for sure.
No, it's another I guess controversial topic is a turntable an instrument, and I think depends how you use it is the answer, or my answer.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing like wicked scratches, obviously that's not playing like the piano or something, but it's still super musical if it's in time and like adding to the vibe. So,
man, watching like a pro vinylist, whatever you call it, a turntablist.
I like vinylist.
I just added that.
Made
that up. DJ Craze is probably my favorite. I dig watching his stuff, and he's he's always done like a lot of hip hop and like kind of like house and this like Miami disco kind of vibe, which is really cool to watch. And his scratching skills are just next level.
Insane. All those like DMC guys, it's just insane. And like I can appreciate it from just a skills point of view. But then from an actual listening point of view, so I'm not actually going to listen to that unless I've got the video there.
That's what I digged about DJ Craze is like his skill was insane, but he had a really good like flow and sound to what he was doing. So it wasn't just like wiki.
It wasn't like one of these kind of 1 minute showcase DMC World Championship.
It was like actually felt like a song or like and he would mix shit together, and he's cool. And nowadays I think he plays like a lot of like halftime type of stuff, but incorporates the scratching and stuff into that. So it's really cool to watch.
And that's like I don't know. I think that's kind of the coolest school of DJ, to be honest. Like, dudes that can scratch, and like weave in and out of vinyl and digital. I think that's like kind of the I don't know. That's my favorite kind of like style of DJ to watch.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Definitely.
Like feels it feels a bit weird for me. Like when I go up and play a set, and then it's like I can understand. For some people, why some people are like, this isn't real DJing or something, like vinyl is real DJing, and it's like, but then it's, I don't know, it's just different schools, and it's like, what are you there for? And I guess like when you're watching like a vinyl guy, it's so much more going on. So that's kind of why I got into, because I guess I felt a bit like, I got to put a bit more of a show on or something if like people are gonna come and watch. But But I guess that was all like when I was a bit younger. But
I think like ultimately I was a bit like that when I was younger, and I was kind of like a bit more I don't know, harsher critiquing of DJs, and then like ultimately now my opinion is, well, one, it's like personal opinion. Do I like the style of music that you're playing, and are you mixing it nicely? And then the second thought is like, what's going on with the crowd as well? Like, is the crowd dancing? Yeah. Well, then like you're you're kind of a good DJ, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you could train, wreck,
yeah.
and mix, and it's like, yeah, you might not have the best mixing skills, but you understand like what, how to work the crowd.
I think like from a crowd's point of view, like they've obviously got to be enjoying it hands down. Like that's the first rule.
And typically drum and bass crowds are super critical of the DJs as well. Like they know if it's clanging, you'll see a few of these ones going on in the crowd. Like get it back in time, which is pretty funny to watch. But it's never like never has bad intent. Like it's never malicious. It's always kind of just like It's just, I don't know. I think of it as funny. Like, it's like you should be able to give them a bit of shit, you know.
I think some of that pressure that sits in the back of my head of like, because I sometimes think like, okay, like I know that, and this sounds a bit cocky, but I'm like, okay, I know that my mixing is good, but for what I'm trying to say, instead of those moments when I forget the bass, but I know the mixing is good, and I know that like my song selection is good, so I'm like really keen to play these tracks for the crowd and see how they react and like kind of surprise them and take them on a bit of a journey. But then I also feel like, am I interesting to look at? Like, because you're on a big stage sometimes or a small stage, whatever. It's like, I want them to see something. And I guess that's where the visuals come in as well. But I guess a lot of the time I'm like, that's kind of why, for myself, I put a bit of pressure on like, okay, I've got to be doing something because I don't want them to look at me and I'm just standing there and chilling or...
like that video you sent of Deadmau5 was just sitting down on stage and you were like, what's going on here?
Yeah, that's just like, that's just rude to me, you know?
He was like smoking a ciggy or something.
Yeah, I think it was on a chair, sitting back.
And there was like, was it some drum and bass playing or was it like a techno kind of song?
I think it was techno-y, yeah. But yeah, I just feel like it's a bit rude for the DJ in that sense. Like they're all there to see you, in that case, Deadmau5. It's like, put a bit more effort in, just stand up. But then you go like the other side where it's too much and you got to kind of have a balance where it's like, you got people like Skrillex and stuff where it's just like, that whole thing's recorded and he's just jumping around.
Yeah, like cool old school and Hardwell, like put your hands in the air.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you guys want to hear some new shit?
I'm you got to find that balance.
I'm kind of pretty much in the same school of thought where it's like, I don't really enjoy the DJs that are a bit over the top with that, but at the same time I don't want to see someone that's just like head down mixing and not really paying attention to the crowd. Like, it's ultimately people are going to be like, they're going to be looking at you. I feel like you should at least look like you're having fun, because then that reflects back to the crowd. I think when the DJ looks like he's having fun, that makes me want to have more fun.
100%.
So that's kind of my, I
feel
guess,
like
my take on it.
I feel like there's a definite exchange of energy between a DJ and the crowd. Like when I'm DJing, I have these moments where, like if I'm playing an hour drum and bass set, I'm often locked in as hard as I can be, and I'm zoned in. I'm trying my best, and then I get in and out of these flows. Well, like within an hour of like 20 minutes could go by and it's just gone great. Like everything's gone well. I've been vibing the whole time. My body is moving. Like, and then you look at the crowd and they're enjoying it. And then there'll be like 5 minutes or so where I probably run out a bit of steam. And then I start noticing like, oh, I shouldn't have played this song. And now I'm not moving much. I'm feeling a bit off. And then I look at the crowd and they're not feeling, and I'm like, okay, we need to change it up again and like get back into that flow. So yeah, it's definitely like a give and take, I think.
Yeah, and I think in those situations, like I've definitely felt the same. In those situations where you start to feel a bit off and you're like, oh, I don't know how this is going.
Yeah.
Like I've tried to do that thing as well where you just like fake it till you make it kind of thing. Like look like you're having fun until you start having fun again.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think, if the crowd notices you're off, if the crowd's like, he doesn't look like he's enjoying this track, then they can definitely feel that.
Yeah, exactly. So, so I mean, like, it really does affect the whole vibe. Is, you know, what else is the DJ doing besides playing the music? Like, I've been to a few gigs where I guess like musically maybe not really my taste, and the DJ's been really fun, and they've been really fun nights. And then oppositely, like the music's been on point, but the DJs just hasn't really moved. Yeah, or like shown any expression on their face at all. Yeah. And then you're just like, man, it was good, but that was a bit of a dampener.
There's a couple, especially I think in house, like tech house, like techno, like proper kind of deep stuff, and drum and bass, where there's a lot of DJs, like big names and stuff out there. That do that. They'll come and just kill the set, like absolutely amazing tracks, start to finish. But they just stand like so still. Which is fine, but it is interesting to me, like as the DJ, looking at them, being like, you know, they just seem so lifeless or something.
Yeah.
But it happened at a show I went to watch a while back, and I won't say who it is because I don't want to piss anyone off, but it was a big DJ.
Say the name.
It was Sub Filla.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, like, I was watching, like, the set was fucking amazing, but then I was watching, like, you haven't moved, or like like nothing's happening. But then other people said to me on the night, like, man, this guy's playing just has like an aura around him, and it's like sometimes they just get away with it because the music's so good, or maybe it's like a part of their brand or something, and they just fucking look too cool to move. Or
Well, I don't know if it's the same person you're talking about, but I remember like I used to really be into trance. I used to really be into trance music.
Yeah.
And then I went to a state of trance in Sydney one year. Is that
an event?
Yeah. It's a radio show run by Armin van Buuren.
Oh, cool.
And then I think it was like, it was like their world tour for like 700 episodes or something.
Yeah, right.
So me and a mate went over to Sydney to just basically have a rave. And over there they had, he's part of this group, or him and another guy called Gaia, and they wore these like, basically almost like religious kind of robes.
Oh, right.
And basically did that same thing where they played all this really dark, intense music.
Yeah.
And they didn't move at all, but they wore these robes so you couldn't even see their face.
Yeah, right.
But I was like, that's a really cool example of that, because it's like a
bit of a show,
playing a character,
something
kind
to
of
look at. That's what I liked about the old Noisia stuff, was they had that. They didn't do it a lot, but they had that when they played like festival gigs. They would have that hood that, I don't know if you remember, but it was like the circular dome around the head. And it was lit up.
Man, I always used to think that looked like an ant or something.
Yeah, to me it looked like I never got to see them like in person.
Yeah.
But watching it on YouTube and stuff, it was like, I would imagine you're in the crowd. That looks like 3 aliens playing music or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or it's like Dead Mouse's mouse.
Yeah, some type of character,
helmet, whatever you want to call it. Headwear. It's the same thing. It kind of puts you in that like. That's a different kind of version of it, whereas like if you're just a dude wearing a black t-shirt and a black hat, you got your head down mixing, it's like, man, it's meant to be fun, like people are out here trying to have some fun.
I always wanted to do, like, obviously like inspired by Deadmau5, but I always wanted, and I never did, but I think it would just be really cool to have like that helmet or like something covering your face, like Daft Punk or Noisia or something, where it's like something that's just a bit of a character that you bring to the stage. Like, it seems really cool, seems really fun, and it also gives you like a bit of that. I really like the idea of who's behind the mask kind of thing, like a bit of mystery.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, you got to have a good idea, because there has been some, and even in Perth, there's been like 1 or 2 that have tried it, and it's like it just doesn't look good, or it doesn't.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like it's not cool until it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, like,
if you're doing that and there's like 2 people in the crowd, you're gonna look like the biggest.
Yeah, you're gonna look like an idiot.
But if you're doing it and there's like 200 people in the crowd, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would assume if Deadmau5 was a brand new act and had like 10 people at his show, you'd look like an idiot with a big mouse head. Like,
yeah, exactly. So, and I'm the same. Like, I really enjoy that. I think people really like. I don't know. Globally, everybody really likes characters as well. Yeah. So, like, if you can kind of play a character, I think that usually gains a bit more traction.
Yeah, I think so. Just creates a bit of an identity and a bit of a brand, a bit of mysticism behind it all.
Yeah, and it's a bit unique as well. Like, not just this another D&B DJ.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of extra to him.
So, yeah, I had a couple questions in mind.
Oh yeah, so that was pretty good answer for the second question, I think. What was that?
Oh
like?
yeah, true.
What was
yeah,
that like? 15, 20 minutes.
But one of my questions.
Okay. Yep.
Was going back to like.
Another anonymous question.
No, this is from me.
Okay. You're just asking your own questions, but haven't put your name on it for the first two.
yeah, in case they're really bad.
yeah. He's like, oh no, that wasn't me. No.
Yeah, no, I've got a whole list of stuff I've been thinking about like this week, like what can I talk about.
Yeah, cool. Because I didn't bring anything. I was like, we'll be fine. Like,
yeah. I mean,
we have pretty good chats when we hang out.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, we can always chat shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I do want to. I guess with this podcast, like I don't want to like I want to have a balance between chatting shit, but then also like some deep kind of questions and like getting to understand.
Deep, man. You know, I like getting deep.
Deep and forward.
Yeah, exactly. Deep and forward.
Which is a good segue to my next question about deep forward.
Cool. Fire away.
Yeah, so you started Deep Forward. When was it? Like 2021 or 2 or something? I don't know. It was like a little while back.
I think it was.
Was it during COVID or was it a little bit after that?
It was a little bit after. I think it was like 23 maybe.
Yeah,
2023, I think. Started as a little event series. Basically just got offered the opportunity to put on an event, a monthly event at Convenience when that was open.
Yeah.
Super fun. It was like a Thursday night, pretty small.
Yeah, it was cool. Man.
I think each month we did like about 12 shows. Yeah. And then it stopped right just before the first birthday due to some, I don't know, miscommunication, you might call it.
Okay. Fair enough. It happens.
You know what it's like in the events world. Sometimes you get the dates mixed up, or not you personally, but the other parties get the dates mixed up, and then that ruins your plans. And then so I stopped doing it. Tried to find another venue, but just haven't really found anything.
Yeah.
And then recently just started recording mixes again. So I'm going to do monthly mixes, and that's Deep Forward Radio. So,
yeah. Nice. No, I was really curious with the Deep Forward stuff. Like, I really enjoyed it when you were doing it. It was cool to have something that, like, people could come and just, like, hang out with. Like on a Thursday was great because it was, like, I don't know, like, maybe I've got something planned on the weekend. I don't want to go out, but then it was good. It was very chilled. It was a good little, like, location, and you can see some new talent, and like, there was a lot of acts that came to that played for you that I was like, they're fucking sick. I need to get them on Sub Era, and it was cool. Yeah,
and I guess I tried to be a bit of like a grassroots sort of event, like giving opportunities to like newbies.
No, it was awesome.
Kind of just like friends as well. Like almost try to create a little community around it. So but then that kind of finished and haven't really got it going again, at least in terms of the events. It was super fun, man. But like ups and downs, as you know, in the events world. Like I'd say, so we did 12, I think.
Yeah, right.
And
sweet.
I would say 6 of them were pretty good. The other 6 were, in terms of like people coming, was a bit average. But it was a super cheap business venture, if you want to call it that. So like I didn't lose any money or anything. So
that's good. Yeah.
It was just a bit of like a side project opportunity that I was offered, and I was like, let's give it a crack, you know.
Nice.
So
and
tried to have fun with it as well, like, you know, with all the kind of write-ups with all the DJs that I was doing as well, like trying to put little jokes here and there in it, and like just trying to have fun with the graphics as well.
Yeah.
I was always like, don't send me a serious photo. I don't want to use a serious photo.
I really liked the logo that you made, or that your friend or someone made for it. It was really cool. Smart little logo.
Yeah, so funny how that came up actually was I had the idea of basically making a character of like one of those old school big Jamaican like sound clash sound systems.
Yeah, like the speakers.
Yeah, and then I sent it to my mate Curtis. Shouts out to Curtis.
Yeah.
And I was like, can you sort of like make a cartoony kind of character with this? And then obviously he's going to have hands. So I was like, they got to be gun fingers because that kind of represents the music that we love.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, he just put it together and sent it to me, and I was like, this is fucking perfect. And he sent me 2 versions of it. One where the speaker was upside down.
Yeah.
And it looked like a cyclops.
Right.
Basically, with like gun fingers, and I was like, this looks really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And then one where it was like the right way up, and also looked cool, but didn't really look like
that's interesting.
Kind of, I don't know. It didn't look like it had some sort of like sentient personality. It was just like it's just like more of a robot looking kind of thing.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that it all came about through gun fingers. So like,
right.
There was a bit of a mishap with the name of the event before it was Deep Forward. I won't go into that, but you know the details.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I was just browsing on, I think I was on like Wikipedia, just looking around at like sound clashes or whatever. And so a forward in sound clash culture is whenever you would play, or whenever someone would play like a really good dub plate on their massive sound system, the aficionados at the back would have legitimate guns, like real guns, and shoot bullets into the air.
Yeah, right.
Basically to like big up the DJ and say, yo, this is a sick tune. And then eventually, like, obviously that caused a bunch of issues because you're shooting guns all over the place.
Yeah. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was a forward, was anybody in the crowd doing that.
Right.
But a deep forward was the aficionados in the back, or the heads at the back. When they really loved a song, they would shoot up in the air. And then eventually, as it kind of went on, you know, like the guns left the scene, but the gun fingers remained. So yeah, literally deep forward means like, you know, appreciation of a dub plate from
That's
the
cool,
heads
man.
at the back.
I had no idea it had so much fucking context behind it.
Yeah, I mean, like I came across it by accident, but I was like, you know, that's it. When you see something, you're like, that's.
I really
that's
I dive heavy into like the history of music and cultures and musical cultures and stuff. Like, I did one recently about the whole reggae culture and like in Jamaica and stuff, and I think I watched like an hour fucking documentary on it and podcasts and stuff, and I was just like heavy dove down into it, and I dig all that, like just finding out how things kind of develop and where they come from.
I think it's important to know as well. Like, obviously, it's morphed into its own thing, you know, within the last 20 years or whatever. It's changed, but it's good to know like where it's come from.
Yeah.
Just so you kind of like, you know, you pay respect to
for sure
roots and culture.
It's just it's interesting as well, like where everything comes from and what gets a movement started, and you know, and like I was learning about the reggae stuff and you know, and where that got started, and I didn't realize, but like a lot of it wouldn't have happened if there wasn't all this, you know, I guess crime, or like not crime, but I mean
colonialism.
That's I was trying to like, how do I say it without sounding really bad? But
I mean, it's kind of that. It's a similar thing. Like when you think about history in general, is great art comes out of tough times.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate that.
So we need to make more tough times.
If you want some good music, man, make some tough times. So.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, because I always think of like the same thing, like. But more so from like the 90s, start of drum and bass, and like maybe like the punk movement in the 90s as well is like a big example of that sort of stuff.
True.
So, it sucks that, you know, all the bad shit happened, but it created all this really cool music.
Yeah, man. I think that's what's cool about music is
which I hope doesn't sound insensitive.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. I get where you come from. Like, I've thought the same stuff, and I'm like, it is crazy how so much good can come out of something bad. Not just in Jamaica and stuff, but like everywhere, like the UK to Africa to America, like all these cultures have come out of that kind of negative impact that they had. Yeah,
and you know, like nightclubbing in general came out of what, like the 80s New York, from like I guess like the gay and minority scene. That's like the only place they could go and be themselves was nightclubs. And then you know.
Yeah,
that was kind of where, like, I guess the nightclubbing party culture came from.
Yeah.
So even that as well, like,
yeah, and
interesting to think about.
Yeah, like even like the hip hop scene in America, where that kind of developed from, like I guess it was, I'm trying to remember exactly, but like you had people like Cool Herc and Grandmaster Flash and all that were putting on these like block parties, and stuff, and it's just crazy to see like how that comes out of a struggle, and then it just develops into like an entire movement and a whole genre, and then hip hop gets born, and it's crazy.
It becomes
then,
like a whole culture as well. Like
and then without like if that hard time didn't go down in America in whatever the period that was, like the 70s or something, and then that scratching and hip hop probably wouldn't have started, and then and hip hop took that aim and break and started running with it, and then that morphed into the UK's version of the aim and break, which morphed into drum and bass, and
they sped it up,
jungle, and it's just wild how it's all connected, and just how it progresses. Like it's crazy.
And like, like everything. I don't know if you've seen the documentary "Everything's a Remix," where basically it talks about like the greater picture of I guess art in general.
Yeah.
But it's applicable to music specifically because you like actually remix songs.
Yeah.
But it basically talks about that like no idea is original, and it's always pieced together from like almost a bastardized version of a bunch of different things that whatever the person likes. Kind of like to quote Deadmau5 again, fuck, seems like I'm his number one
go for it.
fan, making like Mr. Potato Head music. Where you basically just got the potato, and then you put in like putting an ear on it, and another ear, and then the arms and legs and whatever. So that's kind of like it's a I wouldn't know. I don't know if that's kind of it's probably my shit version.
No, I get what you mean. Like you're taking influence from a lot of different things and putting it into your own version and your own track.
And then in that process you like discover something new.
Yeah, it's interesting, like, a long debate about whether anyone can actually make anything original, like, because how can you, like, say you sit down and you make something completely from scratch, you're like, oh, this is my original idea. You can always go back and be like, yeah, but you've listened to this song and this for so
is
long.
It though?
And,
is it your idea?
Like you're taking all these things from all these things that you've heard, and
or even like you might think you have a cool idea, and then you find out immediately that someone already did
it. I've done that. I've like sat down, fucked around, and then I'm like, oh, this is sick, and I've got a nice bass line going or chord progression or something, and then I sit on it for a bit, and I'm like, oh, I've heard this is exact chord progression somewhere else.
I've done the same thing. And then it, and then like other people don't hear it, and you're like, how can you not hear it? Like, it's so obvious to me.
But there's a quote from, I think it's Da Vinci.
Oh, wow.
So
cool.
very old.
Yeah.
And he says...
It's also in Latin.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say it in Latin. This is like the translated version and probably paraphrased. Where he says something like, good artists copy, but great artists steal.
Yeah.
And it sounds bad because you're like, oh, like all these artists are stealing and stuff. But I think it happens a lot, and I think
because it's not stealing their work, it's stealing techniques.
Yeah, exactly. Like whenever I listen to drum and bass tracks or any music, I'm listening and I'm like, oh, that 10-second loop or this 10-second part sounded really cool. I wonder how they did that, and then I'll take it home and put it in Ableton and try and dissect what they did and try and I guess put that into something I'm creating. But then it always ends up like completely different from what I've heard from them, or and so now you've kind of derived a completely new sound or a new idea.
It takes on a body of its own.
Yeah. So it's interesting. People are always spreading ideas and sharing, I guess, in that way. So it's interesting.
Because I do the same thing. Like whenever you sit down to try and make a new tune, it's always like the first initial part of it is like, what's your kind of favorite song of now, and you kind of like make a version of that, and then you sort of refine it and like take bits out, and like I said, it takes on a body of its own and becomes a different thing.
I do a lot of like referencing between my songs and other songs that I'm like really into at the moment, and try and catch that vibe a bit and put it into mine, and I think it's a good way to learn as well, like for people who are starting. Like that was something I was taught a long time ago, and just being able to like really listen to a song and dissect exactly what's going on, and try and recreate some of it, even just to like understand what's happening.
And then like link it back to like hip hop culture is like the people who make good hip hop and extension of that, drum and bass and most electronic music. Typically, a lot of the time, they're not classical musicians. They're students of whatever genre they're making. So like the more time you spent around it, the more things you pick up. Specifically for that genre of music, I guess.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
So with your music as DOS, you've released a lot of like club kind of tracks, if you want to call it that, like rollers, stuff to dance to.
Hopefully.
No, it is, man, and your music's sick. Like yours, Nick, and like Density, like Cam, like some of my favorite in Perth, just killing it, and like your stuff's always coming out super crisp.
Thank you.
But I did notice, like as I was thinking about like what to talk to you about, I was noticing that you've kind of only, I think, released like club stuff, like stuff to play during a set, or
because
like
I mean, like, and that's the intention, is to release stuff or make stuff that I can play for people in the club, because not that I play too many club gigs, but like that's kind of ultimately the goal, because that's like the funnest feeling is to have play one of your tunes for a crowd, and then vibe to it, and just think like, wow, this is pretty cool.
I get a lot of anxiety from playing my own music.
Like, I do too, but you get used to it. Like I remember, man, I had a horrific experience once. The first time I played one of my own tunes at a club, I was playing the opening set, and there was probably like handful of people on the dance floor, maybe like, I don't know, 20, 30 people in the club. So I was like, start of the night, I was like, all right, this is the time to test out one of my new tunes. And I dropped this tune, and I don't know if it was the tune or just the bad timing, but it cleared the dance floor. And I was like, oh no, man, this really sucks. Yeah, that really sucks. So, and then that kind of, I don't know, didn't sit well, and I was like, okay, well, whatever, I'm gonna try it again. And then I did it again, and it kind of like worked, and then done it a few times after that, and like depends on the song and the timing you play it in the crowd and whatever. But it's a cool feeling. I
always get super nervous about playing my own tracks. Like my heart will start racing, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna do it. Like we're gonna give it a go, and then but you get used to it. But
I love that feeling.
It's good.
I feel alive, man.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I don't get nervous if playing one of my songs, but if I think it's going to go well, like that recent Fatboy Slim bootleg, whenever I play that, I'm like, oh, this should go pretty well. That's when I get nervous, because I'm like, oh, if it doesn't go well, then I'll feel pretty bad.
Right. Yeah, I get what you mean. I always... like I like the song that because I made it, so I'm like, oh, I'm happy with this track. I'm proud of where it's at, and give it a go. But then, and I think surprisingly, like it always goes better than I think it's gonna go, because I probably put myself or my music down a bit, like more than I should. But it goes all right. But then, to me, maybe it's because I just know the song. I'm not sure, but I don't know for you. But whenever I'm mixing like a professional track that I'm like DLR or whatever, and then I'm mixing it into my track, I feel like I can immediately tell when because I know what the song sounds like, but I'm like, I can immediately tell like some type of difference between
And you're like, this sounds bad compared to that.
Yeah, so it's I don't know if that happens with you.
Oh, definitely, man. Even when other people play my tunes, and I hear my tune come in, I'm like, that's mine.
But then it's like, are you just identifying your song because you've heard it so much.
I think it is partly an element of that.
Because I've had other people play my stuff, and then it's like, I mean, you know it's yours, but then it's, I think, like, it must not be that bad if someone else can play it and mix it. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not shit if somebody else.
Because when I play your stuff,
yeah,
I find it's great, and like I find like I always think, fuck, like how does yours and Nick's songs just seem on the same level to these other guys? But then when I play mine, it's not. But then it's like maybe I'm just being too critical for my own stuff, you know.
I think you are. I think you are, man. Because like ultimately, when you're in the club and you're playing your own tune, nobody knows that's your tune. And
that's true.
And I think as long as I had enough experiences where I didn't clear the dance floor, where I was like, this is encouraging enough to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So, and then like I said, it is a gamble, like because you know it's something quite personal when you make a tune, and then you play it for people. The nerves don't kind of dissipate at all. They're still very much there. But it's just a really like cool feeling, I think, when you play a tune, one of your own.
For sure, man. For
a crowd. If they dance, great. If they fucking cheer and throw up, you know. Tell you to slap your nan, then that's what you want, you know, because that's kind of the ultimate goal. So I guess it's like, but it is a gamble a lot of the time. But then like the gigs that we play, typically the crowds are pretty open-minded within like the world of drum and bass. And especially if you get put on at the right time slot.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you know.
Yeah, I think
you know deep down your tracks aren't bad.
Like
you've got the ear for it, so I don't know. It's kind of just like
it's just like
overthinking it. And,
for sure.
But I completely understand. It's just it gets easier the more you do it. You know.
I definitely think getting into more deep topics. You know, I think I definitely overanalyze my stuff and just be like, fuck, like my shit sucks, and then
that's what makes you get better. I think.
Yeah, no, for sure it is. That's what you're always learning, so I always want to just improve and get better.
And I think there's a healthy angle to that as well. If you're not like beating yourself up and making yourself feel bad because of it, I think there's definitely a healthy aspect to that because you are being critical. Yeah. But you know what's the kind of what comes after that? Yeah, that's true. I was like that yesterday, and I was like, fuck, like I feel like I haven't made anything good, like ever, and I'm like, fuck, like, and then I was like, you know what, like, I think I did, I started watching, like, some videos and, like, trying to make myself feel better, like, some more positive type of stuff, and then I was like, you know, I'm gonna go listen back to, like, all my shit on Spotify, and I just went and listened, and I was like, you know what, it's not that bad. I'm pretty happy with what I released, like, you know, we get. And that's also another cool thing is where you make something, you release it, and then a few years later, you hear it, and you start nodding again, and you're like, I still like this.
Yeah, I think when you listen to something so much, like when you're making that track, and you've spent like the last weeks just like trying to perfect this track, and you just keep listening to this loop or whatever, it gets into your head, and you're just like, this sounds shit, but it's actually, you need to step away for a bit and like come back.
Yeah, you go through the full spectrum of emotions when mixing a tune, or making a tune, the whole process.
So like I was curious with your stuff because you make a lot of that club kind of stuff. Rollers and stuff. Is that like an intentional thing? Like, do you go in sitting down in your studio and you go, I'm gonna make like another banger, like a club?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like it's just what I like. Is that style of.
Okay, cool.
Or that's my favourite style of drum and bass is probably a better way to put that. Because I like all styles. Well, I guess not really like the heavier side of things and the more commercial stuff, but like pretty much all like underground styles if you want to be a bit more generalist. But there is usually there is an intention when sitting down and trying to make something. Because for me personally, if there's no sort of like goal in mind, then it's hard to actually make anything. Yeah. Which has its benefits in certain sessions, but sometimes you're like, oh man, I just want to like, sounds kind of bad, but like I just want to finish something, you know? Make something, finish it, where it's at a playable state.
Yeah, okay, I get you.
So, it's just what I like, man, and
Yeah, cool. Yeah. No, it's good. It's like you're doing it well. You're killing it. So I dig it. I'm curious because like I do struggle a bit to make club kind of stuff like where it's something that I can play in my set. Like I've definitely got a few out there that like roller deep kind of or more on the heavier minimal side or and stuff like that where there's a lot of stuff of mine that I can play and that I obviously made for that purpose, but I find like for myself I probably more so make liquid than anything else. And it's interesting to me like to watch you and Nick and Cam and stuff where it's like all of you tend to be releasing like the same, not the same, I don't mean it in a bad way, I just mean like you tend to be
like
releasing
energy-wise,
similar,
like,
but to me it's like I find it hard to really capture that energy while I'm sitting in a chair, like making a track. So I think I listen to a lot of music and a lot of drum bass when I'm driving, and it's like liquid just really kind of creates a vibe.
Yeah,
and so I just kind of follow that vibe into my studio. But
because I guess it's like a similar thing for me, but like I'm mostly listening to club style rollers. Like in my headphones or in the car or
nice.
If I'm listening to drum bass, otherwise it could be whatever. But and I just find like that's the funnest style to make for me. So
cool.
Like obviously you would know that feeling, and it's such an addictive feeling once you get a vibe going in the studio. And you start nodding along, and you're like, "This is pretty cool. I like this."
Are you?
That's what gets that feeling going. So I guess I'm like, it's almost like I'm an addict of that feeling.
Yeah.
And I'm just chasing that kind of.
It's like I know. I just feel like the liquid stuff just comes more naturally to me. And I love the liquid shit, obviously, but I also really love the deep rollers and all that. But then it's like I just find it hard to switch those brains.
I'm the opposite, man. So like I don't feel like liquid comes easy to me because I don't know if you have any musical training in your background, but I don't have any. So, so like I feel like kind of chord progressions and melodies I find quite difficult.
I did I think this also comes back to that like listening to Deadmau5 and listening to like those kind of more emotional punk rock bands and shit, like not like emotional punk rock like fucking My Chemical Romance or something, but I mean like I would listen to like Soundgarden and stuff like that a lot, and where it was very deep and emotional chords and very intense stuff, and
very like I think of just like tension when I hear that kind of music. It's like tension between the
I mean tension's a good one. I like tension. But I just I don't know, sometimes I catch like I'm listening to something and I feel like music really affects the way I feel like very intensely. Like if I'm listening to I'll give you an example. Like I was listening to a hip hop track the other night, and it's a track by Nas, but like an old school one, and it just had like a super, like melancholic, song behind it, like the beat, and that shit just made me depressed. Like,
do you remember what song it was?
I can try and find it. But such a sick track.
Because I'm a big Nas fan, so I'd be curious to hear what it is.
It's a sick track, but that literally. So, like I was saying, like I don't know if it's normal or if I'm just weird, but
Man, that's a daily thought for me. Is like,
but it put me
am I normal or
in
am
a
I
bad
weird?
state, man. Like I was really depressed for like the whole day, and I was like, and I just couldn't stop listening to the song. So I was like, I need to stop fucking listening to this song.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I need to try.
Got caught in a spiral.
Yeah, so.
No, I definitely agree with you where it's like, man, music's got this certain power to, well, I mean, in your situation is pull you into that hole, but for me, it's usually pulling me out of that hole.
Yeah, well, that's why I had to change it up. I was like, okay, I've been listening to the song that I'm addicted to right now, and it's making me feel something.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can harness that and be like, I'm going to take that to the studio and write some sad kind of chords that would make me feel a bit better and express it a bit, which is I think where a lot of that liquid comes from. But then other times it just catches me too much, and I'm just stuck in this loop of listening to this track.
Yeah, and man, like I don't like when I'm sad. I don't want to continue being sad. So like, I don't really understand that kind of like listening to sad music when you're sad.
Well, I mean, I wasn't sad when I was listening. It just made me sad.
Oh, okay.
So I just feel like, and I've asked people, I'm like, is this normal? Like, do lots of people do this, or is this, I don't know. But it strikes a chord in me, and it
there
like
definitely are some songs that bring me down, but I just avoid them because I'm like, I don't really want.
I kind of enjoy.
Don't kill my vibe, yo.
Yeah, I guess I kind of enjoy I don't enjoy being sad, but I enjoy, I guess, listening to something that makes me think a bit and makes me ponder a little bit on some stuff and, get a bit introspective. But then,
I mean, given the right circumstances,
if you listen to too much, you got to pull yourself out a bit and be like, all right, I need to stop this. I'm going to listen to some happy liquid and I'm going to have a coffee. I'm going to chill out. But this is the song. It's called Simple Things by Nas. I'll put a link in the description for anyone listening. It's a good little track. I think it just has really cool chords. Just like that lo-fi kind of vibe. Very chilled.
It's very eerie though.
Yeah, very eerie. Yeah.
It's got a feeling of like coming down.
Yeah. So that was the problem. I shouldn't have been listening, but But I'll catch myself in that.
Definitely, that sounds like a cool way to end an album though. Like,
it's a banger, man.
Yeah.
It's a good song, really. But I'm not a big like lyrics guy. Like I won't.
Oh, I'm a massive lyrics guy for rap or
hip-hop
specifically, I mean, not really for singing because.
But like when it's a song like this where the chords to me are so much louder than whatever he could be saying. So to me, it's like those chords just fucking immediately strike a emotion, and then the lyrics kind of just go out the door, and I'm like, all I'm hearing is those chords and the beat, and
I understand that because like sometimes the beat's too good.
But if it's like a full on like rap cipher and there's like they're just killing it like Wu-Tang Clan and then it's like, okay, then I'm listening to the lyrics. I'm but I'm more of a beat guy, than a lyrics guy.
I switch between the two when it's hip hop. Like, I guess it depends what I'm doing. Like, if I need to focus on something, I'll listen to instrumentals. But if I don't need to listen to or like read anything at work or whatever, I'll put on just normal.
Yeah, no, I listen to a lot of, especially when I'm like doing this college stuff. I've been listening to a lot of like lo-fi and just casual vibes and
Used to be my tradition, man. Every day I would get into work and chuck on lo-fi beats to chill / study to on YouTube. For like
that one with that chick.
Yeah. The anime chick.
Yeah, the one that's doing her studying.
Yeah, because that's like the happiest place on the internet, man. Everyone's like
nothing but positive.
Yeah, everyone's super friendly. Like a lot of people from Brazil for some reason. Always like there was a hello from Brazil, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Hate from Australia.
Yeah, hate from Australia.
Nah, that's great. Going on to with production and stuff like what motivates you to I guess one of my questions was like what do you do? Do you have any methods to get yourself motivated to create your rollers and that kind of stuff? Like, is there anything you do to be like, all right, I want to make music today or tomorrow or whatever? Do you do anything to set the scene?
There definitely is. I think, well, typically if I like a better session in the studio will be backed by like having all my chores done. If that makes sense. Like, cause then you feel a bit freer and you're like, oh, I don't have to like hang out any washing or, like have to, I don't know, do whatever you got to do. Yeah. Grown up life. Exactly. Like, so at the moment, like I'll try and have like a bit of a block out some free time. If I can block out some free time and I know that's like dedicated to the studio time or whatever you want to call it, is that usually helps a lot.
Cool.
And I think besides that, like, not really, because I try and sort of not. This is going to sound a bit counterintuitive because we were talking about intention before, but like you go in with the intention of making something, but then you also let it follow its own path.
Yeah, I go.
That makes sense. Like,
yeah,
you might have an idea in your head, but also don't lock yourself into that idea.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I always go into a session with, I've got an idea. I've been listening to these songs the last couple of days, and I want to make something like that. And then it completely changes to like something else, and you just got to let it kind of happen.
But that's, I think one of the things I have been doing recently is if I'm trying to make something new, is I'll have a couple of samples ready to go.
Yeah.
So
okay,
like
cool.
I'll have maybe like a vocal sample.
Yeah.
Probably a drum break in mind that I want to play with.
Cool.
And then maybe watch like a short video on like how to make a new bass sound or something like that. Just so you've got like some kind of structure. Because otherwise, like, I'm sure you've done this where you've gone in and like noodled with things and then like
nothing happens.
a few hours goes past and you're like, what have I been doing? Like, which is completely fine to do, but when you want to like, when you've got limited time, you know, you want to try and maximize your output.
True.
But then also having fun in the process, which probably leads back to like not having anything I think I need to do, because then you feel free to like be creative.
Yeah.
Rather than being like, fuck,
Are you more of a...
got to wash my car or whatever, you know, like...
Yeah, I'm the same. I definitely got to get everything done before and like just be free of any obligation.
Yeah.
I think the way I kind of do it lately is I'll set like days in the week, like, okay, like, so for example, at the moment, I don't do anything between Tuesday and Thursday because I have TAFE on the other days.
Yeah.
And then usually the weekend is just like whatever happens. And yeah, Sundays I do for chores and like get everything done. But usually I'm like, all right, Tuesday and Wednesday are like my 2 days of trying to get music stuff done. And then Saturdays are just up in there. But but I feel like if I had stuff to do and it's like something's on my mind and I'm like, I didn't get all the cleaning done before that or whatever, then it's like, fuck, like, you know, there's all this shit on your mind and you got to kind of come in with a blank slate.
Yeah, exactly. You got to have a clear mind.
But I struggle to like get in the mood for it sometimes. Like I feel a bit like, I don't know, I guess you could say like a bit lazy and like I procrastinate a lot and I'm like, I should be doing music on this Tuesday, but then I'm like, but I could just sit here. I could just watch something or I could play a game or, you know. So like I struggle with that, but like once I'm in and I'm sitting down, I'm zoned in and I'm locked in for like the day and I'm good.
Yeah.
But so I guess learnt over the years of I really need to get myself in the mood. If I've set like Tuesday as my day, I need to do something to get myself into that mood.
Okay.
On Tuesday. So what I've been doing, and I was just curious if you did something like this or other stuff, but I do like I got to make sure my studio is clean and ready for me.
Yeah, that's a big one, definitely.
Yeah, like it's got to be organized, it's got to be clean.
And, having a clean desk is like paramount to me because then you just like got clutter around and you're like, man, that's just not a good vibe.
Yeah. And then I'll do like, all right, I'll wake up at this time and I'll have coffee and chill out, and then I'll, you know, like shower, get dressed, like all this kind of stuff, like kind of treat it like you're going to a job, or without sounding depressing about going to a job, but I mean, sounding like trying to be focused, and then
structure and routine almost.
Yeah. And then I'll do like, because with music it's like, you can come in and just do like a mixing session if you're doing something technical, like then you don't really need to be motivated. It's just like, how can I fix the snare? But if you want to come in and have like an open mind, you've got to have, like for me, I've got to feel a bit motivated. I've got to feel a bit creative. Yeah. So what I do is I'll be like, all right, I'm going to go buy a coffee somewhere down the road and spend like 10 minutes getting a coffee and driving around and just blasting like the vibe that I want for that day. Like some AliExpress or some DLR or whatever. And I'm just vibing that. And then I get home and I'm just playing music in my earphones. Then I sit down and then I'm like, all right, we go. Yeah, we
go.
Yeah,
here we go.
So I gotta
I've
like
tricked my brain into wanting to do it now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I've got to trick myself into doing it and like feeling that emotion of like, let's going.
Yeah, because I mean, I guess the whole thing is like you're trying to catch that flow.
Yeah.
Of working.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is hard to get sometimes. So I guess that's why I have like a similar thing where it's like you just listen. I guess it's more of like a writer's block thing where I listen to a bunch of music.
Yeah.
Or I'm just listening to music all the time. You know, like I basically don't do music Monday to Friday.
Okay, cool.
And then I squeeze in what I can on the weekends, which is usually like maybe a couple of hours each day if I've got the time.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm itching for it.
Yeah, okay.
But like to have some structure to the session, I'll have to have like I said, typically a couple of samples ready to go.
Cool.
And then you just
So what, are you getting those samples ready like a couple of days before or something, or like?
Man,
what do you mean?
like so I don't really enjoy looking for samples, digging for samples. I'm more of a passive sample
okay, cool. So
kind of guy. So like I'm just kind of always listening to shit.
Yeah, right.
And
Interesting.
I'll always
cool,
have
though.
an ear open for like a sample.
Yeah.
I try to like just constantly remind myself like, oh, if you hear something cool, take a note of where you've heard it, like if it's in a video or in a song or whatever.
Okay. Smart.
And then so I've got basically like a list of that in my phone of like cool samples. And then and then when I sit down to have a session, I'll go through the list and be like, oh, what can I think can work well together?
Yeah, right.
And then I'll probably have like 3 or something.
That's
and then that'll kick it off. And then if it works, then you're kind of like you're set. You know?
I like it. That's an interesting way of doing it.
Because
I've listened to a lot of stuff from some artists, and I'm like, where did you guys find that fucking vocal? Or like some of it will be like vocals that they've stolen from like a movie or a show or something. And I'm like, what made you think of that? Like, because the way I approach finding like vocal samples and stuff, I tend to make the song first, and then like about half of the song, and then be like, all right, now I need a vocal that fits this. And so then I'll go and spend like hours going through like Splice and ADSR and like all these places where you can find samples and just trying to find something that fits. But then like often I don't, and it's like fuck, like it doesn't, nothing really matches the vibe. But then I think like, how do these people, did they make the song and then go and watch a movie and be like, oh, this is perfect, and then steal it? Or but they must be doing something like what you're doing. Is
I think it's a mixture of both, man. Like, because it's not the same. It's not the same every time. Sometimes I'll have the sample from the get go, and then sometimes I'll add it in later. But something to like spur that creativity and I guess like the excitement as well is what I'm looking for. Yeah. Because I don't want it to feel like a job. Because I think once it starts to feel like a job, that's reflects in the music. And I don't know if other people can hear it, but like some of the tunes I've finished that's been a bit of a slog, I'm like, I can hear it. And
yeah, fair enough.
So basically just like trying to draw inspiration from wherever you can, kind of like you said, like, you know, go for coffee and spend a few minutes just like
I do kind of wish that I could get like, because I've got the Ableton Push 2. Yeah. And I've used it maybe like a handful of times. But I kind of wish that I had the newer one or something like a MPC or something where I could just be like, I just want to go out, grab a coffee, sit down somewhere and just jam, like not in my house, not in my studio, just like out in a park or something and just like chill just like vibe. But
Fred again style.
Yeah.
Just take your laptop out and work till the battery's dead.
Yeah, because something like I think the environment's super important about what kind of mindset you're going to be in, and
100%. Yeah. Because I guess like extending on that is vibe. Like you got to set a vibe in your room. Like for example, this room, like these purple and light blue lights, they make a big difference. Just for setting the vibe.
For sure.
So, I guess little things like that it's not. Yeah, I usually don't do all of that perfectly because like this time, like I said, at the moment I have limited time to get in the studio, so I'm kind of itching for it. Yeah. So when I get that free time, I'm like, let's go. Yeah. So
that's cool.
Then it's just a matter of like, oh, what can you do in 2 hours? Like, can you pump out something cool? Can you?
Well, that's
can you not?
Like, one of my things I wanted to say was or ask was, do you like when you are making a track? Do you intend on being like, all right, I'm gonna make a song start to finish and just like in one sitting, or are you coming back over time, like over like weeks? What are you doing?
So I guess usually I follow the process, not really intentionally, but it kind of ends up going the same way every time, which is you have the initial session where I'm like, okay, this is a vibe building session where, you'll try and create like 16, 30 bar, 32 bar loop where it's just like the vibe. Usually that'll take, if it goes well, I'll probably work that for like 2 hours because I try and work in like 2 hour blocks sort of. Because anything beyond that is like,
you get a bit tired.
You just need a break from working. So, go up and
I tend to like binge stuff. Like I'll be like locked in and next minute's like 6 hours gone by. And then I don't touch it again for like 3 weeks or something.
Yeah, I used to do that. But now I'm a bit conscious of taking breaks.
Because life's busy.
Yeah, just like physical health.
Yeah, true.
And, so I'll kind of work in like, there'll be the first session or the first 2 sessions will be vibe building.
Cool.
Get the vibe. If you've got a nice vibe that I like, then I'll kind of move to the next phase, which is arrangement.
Okay.
So pump out an arrangement.
Yeah.
That's the stage that I'm trying to care less about.
Arrangement?
Yeah, because back in the day, I used to really sweat over arrangements.
Yeah.
And like, you'd end up spending hours and hours and you wouldn't even have anything arranged and you'd be like, oh man, I can't write music. But then, so then it's kind of the arrangement stage, which I just sort of like smash out the sketch of the song.
Yeah.
And then it's mixing and kind of refinement in the last stage.
Yeah, cool.
So
I definitely separate, like I kind of mix as I go, like, so like I'm always, I guess it's more of a sound design mix in my opinion, like trying to make sure it sounds good, but
and I do the same in that first kind of phase.
But then I do come back and like when I'm like, all right, I'm finished with the idea of the song and I'm happy with that, I'll come back at a separate time and like stem everything out and then mix it as stems and just really focus on cleaning everything up and instead of just doing it all at the same time, because I feel like it's a different brain, like it's a different like left right type of thing where it's like this is creative and this is processing and making sure everything's nice and tight and
like
clean
one's
and
kind of
mixing.
creative, one's a bit more scientific, or mathematical, because
exactly.
So I guess the main thing is trying to separate the mixing and the writing of the tune. I think has helped me a lot, because then you can devote the whole, what is it, the right side of your brain that's the creative one, or
I don't
fucking
know.
whatever.
I don't think any of mine is. I think both my sides are creative, but I don't think the logical side is there. So
I have to dedicate my whole brain to making music, otherwise it won't work. And then so I'll usually like finish the track or whatever, mix it, get it sounding pretty good.
Sweet.
Then I'll usually send it, ask for some feedback from you guys, and then I'll usually sit on it for a bit. And then I'll come back to it in a month or two's time and just see how I feel about it. And usually I want to make a few changes.
Yeah.
Just because, like, you're coming back into it fresh ears, like, oh, I need...
Yeah, you got to let it...
I need more high end or, something like that.
I think that's what's been cool about getting these new speakers is there's... I've been listening back to some of my stuff and I'm like, shit, like, this could have too much high end or not enough, or... Like, I feel like the high end just comes through really well in these. So it's been interesting to kind of listen with them. But yeah, like, I definitely get what you're saying, and taking a bit of time and sitting on it and then coming back and being like, does anything need to be changed?
Because, like, your ears...
A little bit more objective.
Your ears get used to what you're listening to. So, like, eventually, some shit could sound good if you listen to it enough.
That's it.
So, and you could trick yourself into thinking it sounds good, just like you could trick yourself into thinking
stuff listen to it again in the morning
bad,
and be like, fuck.
Exactly. So I guess that's like my general process.
Cool.
But yeah, lots of kind of, I guess, projects going on at the same time. So it's like each one's in its different phase. And then it's like, what do I feel like working on the day?
Yeah, right. So, okay. I kind of tend to work on one song at a time, like until it's finished, and then I start a new one. which I kind of wish I didn't do it like that, because it seems a lot more productive to do it the other way, when it's like, oh, I'm not in the mood for this liquid song, so I'll work on the roller one, or you know. But I struggle to like separate the, like I guess I'm like project orientated, or like be like, oh, I've got to get that done and started and then finished. So it's definitely not the most productive way, but I feel
I mean, you say that as well, but like you could just end up not finishing anything and starting a whole bunch of stuff, which I'm kind of guilty of.
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of happy and glad that I don't do that, because I don't start. I definitely try to finish everything I ever, like, I think I've maybe finished like 90% of everything I've ever worked on, which I feel like is a good ratio. And because I hear a lot of people that are just like, I just keep starting a new one and I can't finish the old one. And I always been like, what? Like, I get so obsessed in it. Yeah. I'm like, I might hate it, but I'm just going to do
it. Yeah. I'm the same.
I get very persistent on it.
If it gets to that sort of arrangement phase for me, I'm going to finish it.
Yeah, cool.
There.
It might take me a while, because I'm like, I'm struggling with that motivation to come and finish that track. But I'm not going to start a new one until I finish that one, because then I feel like if I start a new one, I'm going to completely ignore that one and never come back to it. So yeah, I have to go start to finish.
Yeah. No, I definitely get that. Like, I set a goal at the start of this year to finish a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, cool.
And then we're like 4 months in, and I've still started like 40 tracks or something like that. So, and not finished like 2. Yeah. So
it happens.
yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's the excitement of a new project is too enticing.
It's good feeling.
Yeah.
When you get that loop going and you're just vibing, it's too good.
Yeah. That's the goal, man. Yeah. The goal's not to tour the world and play thousands of people. It's just to get that vibe in the studio.
Interesting. I'm curious, like, what is one of your goals? I think this will be the last one as well, because we've got like 5 minutes left before that shuts off. But
we've been talking for that long. Oh, yeah, wow.
Yeah, we've gone for an hour 45 minutes.
Oh wow, nice.
So it goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, what is your goals like now that you've been killing it for a while and releasing music and stuff, like where do you see yourself kind of going?
It's an interesting question.
With DOS.
Yeah, with DOS, with the character that I've created. It's an interesting question, because I've really been thinking about the why lately, of like, why am I doing this? Why am I making tunes? And ultimately the goal is to just, for it to remain being fun.
Yeah, like, cool.
It'd be nice to play a few shows out. Haven't really been playing any shows in the last, drum and bass shows in the last sort of year and a bit.
Okay.
I guess it'd be really nice to maybe have a release on a big label, maybe like a Sofa Sound, if anybody's watching out there.
Shout out to Dealer.
Yeah, big fan. Like I just want to keep doing it, like
Sick.
Started the radio show.
Yeah.
Want to keep doing that, releasing like monthly mixes, which is essentially my favorite songs of the month.
Yeah, cool.
Keep trying to make tunes that people dance to, because that's kind of the goal when you're in the club.
Yeah.
And
nice.
Yeah, man. Like, to be honest, I've gotten so much further with music than I ever thought I would take it.
Yeah.
So,
man.
like, I know I'm not like a massive artist or anything like that.
No, you're killing it, man.
I've had a few achievements which I've really been proud of, like
nice.
Like the Skank and Bass premiere last year. That was pretty cool, and like playing shows for yourself and releasing on Sub Era.
Yeah.
So like,
man, you're killing it, dude.
Just trying to keep it fun, man, and like.
No, that's cool, man. That's good.
Go out to some cool events, hear some cool music.
Yeah.
Rinse out occasionally, and
fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Sick.
Like,
well, you're living it there, man. Like,
just trying, man. Like,
fuck yeah, that's good.
It's not a career, so I'm not trying to make money off of it, which is nice.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I get you. Yeah, no, you're killing it, man. So just keep at it. You'll get there. You just, I legit think your music is in the top fucking 5 of Perth. Man,
I appreciate that.
In terms of vibes and quality, like it's really good. And you should definitely be sending yourself to Sofa Sound.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, like, if anybody can get my stuff to them, that'd be.
Yeah.
I'd really like that.
Yeah, you gotta do it. Just
also have to finish some stuff.
Spam them some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you'll get there.
That's probably one thing. As a goal is to get a bit better at networking out at events, because I tend to go into my shell and just like listen to music on the dance floor. So
yeah, true. I do that a bit as well.
Yeah.
I used to be pretty good at networking, but I think like over the last couple of years, I've kind of just been, or at least the last like 2 years, I've gotten a bit more like just content and a bit more like relaxed. Just want to enjoy it more instead of trying to like achieve something every time I go to like a gig or something, you know. But
yeah, and it all comes back to like what you can control and what you can't. So like
that's it.
You know, what you can control is, I guess, your output of music to a certain extent.
Yeah,
and you can't, but you can't really control is like maybe, you know, selling out, playing out that like ultra music or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of So
legit.
Yeah, I don't know. Just keep on keeping on, you know, man. Like
man.
Obviously love music and just keep spreading that love. Yeah.
Well, yeah, man. Well, this has been a good chat.
Yeah.
Good little, you know, talk about some shit.
Yeah, of course, man.
Some good topics in there. Thanks for coming on.
No, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate what you do for the scene and
thanks, dude.
Yeah.
No,
big fan of Sub Filla. Guys, go out and buy some merch.
Yeah.
Buy some tunes.
Big ups, man.
Yeah, support
keep killing
local.
it. Keep releasing music. Keep sending me stuff.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, and we'll keep it going.
Yeah, nice.
Nice one. Thanks everyone listening. Catch you at the next
Peace.
one.
Boo. Boo, 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 boo.